just finished our second iteration of Blink. It's been great. The reviews are in, and we're getting all the data that was the biggest event in the city's history, which broke our own record from 2 years ago.
So Blink is designed as a biennale, so it's like an every 2-year type of thing. But what happens is it's such an intense 2 years that you kind of at the end you're sort of left like, what just happened, and weighs so heavy on you and the creative team and the city, and so you're always like sort of wondering what is next. But for us, the beauty of Brave Berlin is we don't know what's next. Wherever our imagination takes us is what can ultimately be our next big thing.
But it's interesting to think about how in the world did we get here? Our company just turned 6 years old, and when I look back at what we've done in the last 6 years, I wonder, it's a pretty incredible story about how we got this far and how we got to where we are right now. It's a simple thing, but I answered a phone call, and I answered the right phone call at the right time. We got a phone call from Tim Maloney at the Hale Foundation, and I remember his question right away. He said, "I heard you're the guy to talk to if I want to project on a building." Next thing you know, we were talking about doing a large-scale architectural projection mapping on the face of Music Hall, set to a live concert with the CSL.
And it was magical, and people fell in love with this art form, and then just kept rolling. Some things have a shelf life, and Luminosity was one of those things where it could get so much bigger, and we knew that, and it couldn't be contained in a small park. But if we could untether it from a live symphony orchestra, we could do it in a different way and stretch it throughout the whole city. We could create 1,000 of those intimate settings throughout all of Cincinnati.
Summer of 2015, we did it again. And this time, Tim Maloney called us aside just days before the first performance, and he said, "Okay, what's next?" And with that question, that was the start of what became Blink. But we did something interesting. Tim said, if you're going to throw $1 million show, you need to do your homework. And so what we did is we all got on a plane, and we went and we looked at some of the biggest light festivals in the world.
And not only do you have to curate all these artists, that's one major piece of it, you have to figure out how people are going to navigate the experience.
Every time we went to a new city, we realized we learned something different about what we wanted to do with our festivals.
So frankly, what we did was we planned all of Blink the first year on the path of the streetcar, and with sort of one block of discovery.
So as we were approaching October of 2017, we were feeling pretty good. We felt like we had a good show. But the thing is it was our first year, and you never really know. You never know who's going to show up.
When you create something like Blink, you hope for the best. You hope for the crowds to come and for everybody to sort of understand what it's all about.
So it's interesting. I remember Thursday night, the first night of the show. During the day, we had a meeting across town, Steve and I did, and we were walking over there, and I was trying to notice if there was big crowds in town. And as we were driving up there, all of a sudden we started to notice all these crowds of people lined up on the parade route. We're like, is this for us? Is this for Blink? And so we were really blown away.
What I love about all of it is that amount of people in one condensed area in one small city like Cincinnati. There were 0 police incidents in both years, and people were it was a love fest. People were helping each other, they were very kind to each other.
So here we had we've been planning on about 500,000 people to attend Blink the first year, and the police told us no, we had 1 million people. We had 1 million people come to Blink over 4 days. So an interesting thing happened after the first Blink in 2017. The team, we hadn't really thought, we'd been working so hard and so long on making a great show that we really didn't have any time to stop and think about what next, what would we do after. So I remember it was weeks and weeks before we got back together. Everyone kind of went away, went on vacation, and it wasn't until mid to late December that we finally got back together. We had done this great big thing that was a big success for the city, and everyone kind of felt ownership of their part of it, but also very protective about what was going to happen next. Maybe one of the first big ideas for Blink 2019 was that we've got to somehow include Northern Kentucky. The event was such a success that it needed to include our entire region. Everyone was talking about it, and the iron was hot, so to speak. we knew that it was going to take another 2 years to plan and to go get the sponsors and to get the artists and also to do it bigger and better.
We spend more time creatively than we do knocking on doors trying to raise money for a year. Then, and we've got other plates spinning too. We got a bunch of big projects. We're always working on projects. Blink isn't the only thing that we do.
We've got work lined up with some of our other clients. We're doing work with P&G. We're doing work for Pyramid Hill Sculpture Park. We've got big projects that we're kind of working on, and right now we're not even thinking about Blink.
But coming up we're going to Coachella, and then we're going to do Stagecoach, and then we're going into the theater. We're going to do some stuff with the Shakespeare Company here in Cincinnati.
All those questions are there. There are all those questions about if we do a Blink, it's got to be bigger, it's got to be better. Maybe not necessarily bigger. Maybe bigger isn't the right way to go. Maybe, there's the idea of do we reel it back in and do it smaller? That might be the right way to go. So all of those things are going to require quite a bit of thinking and kind of pondering and strategizing. Meantime, we're Brave Berlin. We jumped right in. We've got work, and we're keeping busy as we kind of think slowly and strategically about what comes next.